It's true. Most self-recording guitar players fail at mixing, and it's because so many of us focus on dumb stuff that really doesn't make a difference, when we should be focusing on the things that really will have an impact on the results that you have with your music when recording in your home studio. In this video, I'm gonna highlight some of these mistakes so that you could skip right over them and get right to producing the results that your music rightfully deserves. Pay close attention. Love the videos, thank you. This is from FBH1S2K. I have a song where sections have fast single notes that get lost in the mix. Thoughts on compressing 10-second? All right, the speed of your song and the compression, that's another thing. If it's getting lost in the mix, are they tight? That's the first thing I ask people. Are the guitar parts tight? I'm assuming you're talking about guitar, right? Most of us here are talking about guitar. Are they tight? Okay, if they're not tight, they will never be clear. I just want to say that. If they're tight, you look at them on the grid and they're pretty tight, they're in the pocket against the drums, they should be clear. If they're not, automate them up with automation. Just bring them up in volume slightly. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Guys, check this out. So this band, awesome band, great songwriters, really, really cool music, but very technical, okay? Very, 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 very technical. Let's go to the breakdown that happens in this song. Give me life. Okay, a bananas part, like that's insane, okay? In order for me to get that part clear, and these guys are super tight guitar players, and I've gone in there and done all of my production editing and all that stuff. This is the automation that was required to get that part to sound clear. Just to show you reality here. All right, as you can see, I did a little bit of a boost here, a little bit of a cut here, boost here, cut here, boost here, cut here, boost here, cut here, boost, cut, and a stair step at the end. Because that's what it took to get this part to sound insane. I went through every single part and made sure that you could hear every single nuance that the guitar players wrote crystal clear, because the song deserved that, right? Think of it like that. So most people don't do that. I'm gonna be honest with you. Professionals do that. Some bedroom people do it, but most people don't because it's not fun. Well, for me, it's fun because I know the results, but a lot of us skip these steps. And I think that's where most of the clarity is gonna come from, assuming you're recording a good guitar track that's well edited with a great tone and a great song and a great production. So hopefully that makes sense. Great question. Stefan from Finland. I just sent 10 songs to be mixed and your videos have helped enormously with recording, editing, and understanding to get it right at the source. That's my love language, man. Happy to hear that because it's the true secret. Okay, Mr. Potato with Bacon asks, how much editing is too much editing? It depends on the genre. I will say this though. People try to not edit because editing sucks. It's not fun. I get this all of the time from people. They'll send me their mixes and they'll say, Bobby, rate my mix. And I'll say, dude, your guitars are kind of sloppy. Fix your guitars. Oh, I'm going for a natural sound. Okay. I understand there's good natural and bad natural, right? So when it comes to what kind of editing is too much, it depends on what genre you're going for. Let's go over a few different examples here. Let's say, I don't know what genre Mr. Potato Bacon, Mr. Potato with Bacon you record or produce, but let's say you record thrash, right? And you like that old school thrash sound. Your version of editing might be just pocketing the guitars, making sure they're in the pocket with the drums, right? That might be good enough, especially if you're recording good guitar players that play with good feel. As long as they're in the pocket and they're not rushing the drums and one guy's rushing and one guy's behind, that's where people really get into trouble. That's one extreme, right? On the low end of the spectrum. Let's say you're into Spirit Box or Sleep Token or any other new crazy modern super tight produced band. Dude, you better go through every single note. I'm just putting it out there. A lot of modern metal is extremely perfect. Me personally, I kind of like to live in the middle. That's just my taste. I like that stuff. I also like old school music, but you have to make the source right in the first place. You can't like fake it with mixing. We all kind of are guilty of this. Myself for the longest time. We'll obsessively mix and EQ when the guitars are out of tune, or we use the wrong guitar tone, or we're ignoring the fact that the bass player is kind of off in a few spots in the production. And I get that a lot. I worked with a few one-on-one coaching clients that study with me for production. And dude, almost every client, even the most talented of talented people, when they get into production, they ignore editing. And pros do it. You know, a lot of the times they might have an intern do it, but you have to do it. That's the whole thing. So there you go. That's my answer on if too much editing. What's too much editing? There are no rules. It depends on the genre you're going for. If you want to drop the genre you're talking about, drop a comment and I'll see if I can get to it. But great question. Wow, Matt says I learned so much from Bobby and now I mix for a living. Happy to hear that, Matt. Yeah, you were killing it with clients, man, because you have a go-getter mentality from what I remember. Unfortunately, most people don't have that go-getter mentality. Jupiter Jones, that's an awesome name. I've taken advice about starting with the kick and moving on from there, still having trouble with balancing by ear. Do you have a few rules you follow every time you balance or balancing instruments? I start with drums typically, get a rough balance of the drums because the drums are always the backbone of any rock or metal production. And then I slowly bring up my rhythm guitars or bass, depending on the style of music. And then I have my framework. I have my base of the mix, right? The basic kind of like the bed of the mix. Basic EQ, compression, bring into vocals, and then I kind of massage it from there. That's how I do it, man. Because, you know, the thing is, you have to do it project by project. It depends on how complicated the music is, depends on if it's the kind of music where bass is really important. Like if there's a band that's very bass driven and the guitars are lighter and more open, that you're going to kind of like listen for different things. But I always start with the drums. For sure. John Slander says, I've learned this from Bobby. The best way to make things simple is number one, pre-production. Get your song right first. Yes. When you go to record the track, edit as you go. Otherwise, you're inviting failure. Oh yeah, we just had a conversation about that in the production hive last night. Really cool musician and producer. We were looking into his tracks. And a lot of us these days are not recording a band in a room at once. That's just the way the world has gone. And a lot of our productions are fragmented. And when they're fragmented, you really have to have a strong grip on what's edited first. And then you got to edit things as they come. Because let's say you record drums, they're not edited. You send the drums to everybody. Then everybody records to unedited drums. And it's like, oh, now I got to edit everything. And you have to spend 5 months editing everything. That's not the way to do it. So it's a great topic. Joshua Schmidt, not a question, but I've known you'll like the topic. A friend wants to learn the basics of recording, but he insists on using his Helix instead of a basic amp sims and other plugins. The amount of guitar players that have brought in Helixes, Axe Effects, and Kempers that have terrible guitar tone is unbelievable. Those are all amazing tools, but I think most people don't know how to actually use them. And again, they make things complicated. They're all amazing. Obviously, watch the big bands. Like if you watch a band that uses it live, it sounds amazing. Most people don't know how to use them. They're better off just playing through a tube head and a cab in most cases. So I feel your pain, Joshua, for sure. So as you can see, so many of us focus on the wrong things when it comes to achieving the results that we want with our music in our home studios. I don't want this for you. I want you producing great results with the gear you currently are using. And because of this, I'm offering you direct access right now to my free training 4 dead simple ways to massively improve your recordings and mixes. In this free training, you'll learn my #1 technique for prepping heavy guitar tracks that virtually mix themselves. You'll also learn how to create instantaneous clarity within your mixes using any old stock EQ plugin. Finally, learn how to take control over the levels in your mix so that instruments stop fighting with one another. And learn how to craft radio-ready vocal mixes using only stock plugins. Now, full disclosure, if you're one of these people that's constantly scrolling through TikTok and you have the attention span of a squirrel, don't waste your time. This training is not for you. It's meant for people who are serious like I am about audio production. Now, if you're making any of the mistakes that I talked about in this video, you're sick and tired of chasing your tail and you just want to produce pro level results with the gear you're using, you can have direct access to the training for absolutely free by clicking the link below in this video's description. And until next time, drink that Spindrift.